How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Ruler 31. And welcome to the very first video of the day. We have the United Rentals 200 for Truck Series. Coming down to the wire here, we have two races left for each series. One determines who races for the championship. The other one determines who wins the championship. Mega, jump into the playoff picture for the trucks. It's been a while since we've done trucks, so bring us up to speed.
Well, first, just want to apologize for last week's Cup. I completely lost my voice. I hope it's back today, and I hope we can make it through all three videos. But just want to let all the viewers know that always check the FSI website or our Twitter page, because if we can't get video out, whether it be a time constraint, whether it be a technological issue or something, we will at least give you something to help you out. And you can always hit us up on Twitter with individual questions. So,
Absolutely.
The playoff picture right now, if you look at the screen, the two guys in green, I believe, have a safe enough cushion. Like, anything could happen. They're 36 and 35 points ahead, which doesn't mean that they are 100% safe, but the person in sixth place is 34 points, almost like 65 points away. So unless Chandler Smith, Carson Hocevar, or Zane Smith win the race, and both Ben Rhodes and John Hunter Nemechek basically wreck on the first lap, and Stuart Friesen finishes in the top five, they're both going to make it to the next round. It's very, very, very slim possibility that they do not. However, they really want to try to get the pole at Phoenix, and the better that you finish here, the better you're going to have. So there is incentive to win this race. This isn't necessarily try to stay safe and stuff. The better that you finish here, the better chance you have to get the pole for that race. And that could be huge, because the winner, the truck that finishes the best there, I believe, TK, I don't think it goes to points anymore. I think in Phoenix, it's whoever finishes the best of the four wins the title, correct?
Yeah.
So you want to get as close to as front as possible and try to maintain that through the rest of the race. And clean air can be king, on some of these tracks.
Yeah, Phoenix more so than Martinsville.
Now, Creed, Crafton, and Friesen are kind of all bunched together within about 10, 15 points of each other. So you're going to see them talking the whole time of them switching positions and stuff. Chandler Smith, Carson Hocevar, and Zane Smith are pretty far out of it. I don't really think Chandler Smith has a chance, even though he's in a Kyle Busch truck. Hocevar, I know you like him much more than I do. I think he's a rookie. He's not as very experienced here. I know he's had some success in some other runs here, but I'm not super high on him, especially in the Nice truck. And then Zane Smith, I think, has the best shot out of all these guys, because he has run really well here. So the guys in red, 6, 7, and 8, they're probably going to forego stage points because they can't nickel and dime themselves. But the guys in the yellow are kind of a little bit more riskier here, potentially, because they might try to stay out to get those stage points, where other guys can pit earlier, and then when everybody else pits at the stage break, they forfeit track position, and the guys that stayed out actually make out better. So all kinds of strategies are going to be in play here.
Definitely agree with you on that. I think the guys like Hocevar, Zane Smith are gunning for a win, and I really like them too heading into today about place differential, as well as trying to get some laps led. This is a longer race, you would say, for a truck race. We have 200 laps to go, 100-mile race, so there's going to be quite a bit of action to follow today. All right, let's get into some driver by driver, as we kind of already alluded to some of the reasons why we like the guys in the top 10 here. But John Hunter Nemechek probably going to be the starting point to a lot of cash lineups with the dominator potential he's going to have. 10-6 is not too expensive either. There are some drivers ahead of him. We'll get to that later, but I think John Hunter is pretty safe for a lot of laps led and a good place differential, or a good finishing position, excuse me.
Yeah, and before we even really get started here, you're going to look and see, like, why does Mega not have any prime plays up here in the top 10? Well, here's what happened. Last week for the Kansas race, we tried something different, and it seemed like it really made sense to throw what I call my prime and core guys out as the value plays, and that pretty much lets you pick, like, from the top, like, who you want to play, like the higher price drivers. So, like, fill in your favorite studs. We'll try to figure out who's the solid foundation. A lot of our viewers did that. The screenshots were beautiful that we saw. And I did the kind of the same thing for Cup. I wrote an article about it, posted on the website, and those that read it followed the same strategy, and it was a very profitable weekend. So we're trying that again here. We're going to give you some guys that we think are and girls, sorry, it's both genders in this race, some people, some drivers that are, very solid people to build your foundation on, and then you can fill in who you want up top here. And I think, that's going to be helpful. So yes, John Hunter Nemechek, I think, is going to be very chalky, very popular. Again, clean air gets out there. I don't see Todd Gillan getting out there. The reason that this is kind of a mess is their last race was Talladega. When we get to Xfinity and Cup, they had Texas and Kansas in between. They haven't raced since Talladega. That race was a hot mess how it finished. Tate Fulgerman ended up winning. God bless you for everybody that bet Tate Fulgerman to win the Talladega race. But, it's just, so this lineup is just kind of really like shaken up here. Yes, they put the guys up top that are in the playoffs, but there's a lot of people that finish really well in the Talladega race that we're going to see in like the top 20 that have no business being there. So that's really going to change the complexity here. So John Hunter Nemechek, he slipped a little bit. Like, he hasn't really been super dominant in the playoffs here, but I do think, that he does have probably the best truck out there, definitely. And, he should get out there, should lead some laps, should finish well. So very, very comfortable putting him in my lineups.
Yeah, Nemechek's a driver that's been racing still in the Xfinity series the past couple of weeks with different cars, a couple of Gibbs cars in between for the big boss man, Kyle Busch. So yeah, he's still with it in the team atmosphere with Xfinity. I think that form carries over into today. Going to be a part of most lineups. Todd Gillan's the odd man out in this top 10, right. The only playoff driver other than Austin Hill at the back end that is not racing for anything other than a win. I could see him being aggressive. I don't know where I stand yet with him. I'm just kind of hoping he goes away at this point,
Yeah, GPP has a 1 win here, has nothing to lose. So he's pretty dangerous in both aspects where he's got a lot of upside, but if he doesn't finish second, then you're going to lose a lot of points. So, and I don't see him like actually dominating this race. I could see him like sneaking in at the end and winning it, but I don't see him like leading multiple laps. So I'm out.
Yeah, same. Next up is Ben Rhodes, probably in on points regardless of his finish today, unless it's something catastrophic. 8K, not a bad spot, but I don't see him being aggressive enough for me to want to stay inside that top 3, to want to lead laps. I just think he keeps the truck clean today and he races well within the top 10, and that's it. I don't know if that pays off at 8K. It may, depending on where he finishes and what he does in between. So, but I think it's GPP for me.
I think he's safe in cash just with his pricing. He does own 3 top 5s here, and he has led, I think, over 100 laps. But again, it could be different situational, like you said, keep the truck clean, survive and advance. He
does have quite a few
just finish the race. So I have Marcus Cash just based on his pricing and his potential here. But again, I do think, he could be conservative. He could lay back and let some of these other guys bang each other to death. And I mean, that could be beneficial towards the end too, if they like cut down some tires and stuff. But, he's a safe play. I think he's got a pretty low floor and pretty low upside. So he's a very vanilla.
Yep. kind of just where he is. Sheldon Creed 10-3. I could see him being very, very aggressive today, trying to make sure that he is locked into that top four. I'm gonna have shares. I just don't know how many yet at this point. Nothing's really jumping off the page for me as far as recent form on Martinsville. What do you have?
He's been pretty dominant to start the playoffs. Didn't he win the first two races? So
Yeah, it's getting back. It's hard getting up to speed here on trucks. Where they're
I believe he won the first two races of the playoffs. So he's I think he's still in pretty good form here. I kind of like him today. I like his aggressiveness, and I think that he would be my second favorite dominator besides John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, he won that race in Illinois, that Worldwide Technology Raceway. Wasn't that a 1 mile racetrack? It was 160 laps, 200 miles.
Yeah.
So maybe that, is comparison to this race here at Martinsville. So yeah, I think you're onto something here. Sheldon Creed probably going to be a really good play. Matt Crafton 8,400. I mean, I love the price tag. They did really well pricing these truck cars, making things really interesting with different routes you can go with Ben Rhodes, either him or Crafton, or you can go balanced and have a lot of these guys in your lineup and hope that one of them hits for the top spot and lead laps. But Crafton, I don't see him as much of a dominator. And
he's the same situation as Rhodes. He's going to keep the doors on the truck and collect his paycheck and blue collar, take his lunchbox, go out there and run some laps and get its top 5 finish probably and go to Phoenix in the playoffs still.
Yeah. In his last 5 races here at Martinsville, he does have a lot of experience. I guess that is something you could factor in. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, basically 10 laps led, which equates to 0 pretty much with how many laps you run at Martinsville. So I think he's just very vanilla, like we've been going on about some of these guys. Chandler Smith, 9,200, going to be driving to win today. What are your thoughts?
I like he's in a Kyle Busch truck, but I think he is one of my least favorite guys here in the top 8. I just don't.
I'm not seeing it either.
No,
I don't even think he ran this race last year in this 18 car.
I think this is one of those races where I think he tries something and he gets shuffled back and he ends up running in the 20s most of the day because he can't catch back up, because he can't get around the rest of the cars, because it's like one of those things, kind of like it's almost like a super speedway where it's such a short track where all these guys get lined up together. If somebody pulls out or gets out of line, unless somebody lets you back in, and all his teammates are ahead of him, except for you have Corey Heim, who's in a Kyle Busch truck that's starting 28th. So maybe Heim moves up to 23rd and lets him back in. He's 22nd or something. So that's what I think is going to happen with Chandler Smith.
Yeah, he wrecked out of Las Vegas the week before Talladega. So I don't know. I don't see the good form coming in either. Stuart Friesen, starting 7th, 8,200. I think you're right on with this cash play. He's got a ton of experience here.
He's a good dirt track driver too, and some of the principles kind of with this track
he's got
carry over.
He's got 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s with an average finish in 9th. So he's destined to finish inside this top 10 today. As long as he keeps all 4 tires on the car, he should be good. Carson Hocevar. Yeah, Carson Hocevar, I have some love here. I really love this kid's speed all year. He's had a really good year. He's come up. He's made a name for himself, and I just don't see him going away easily. I like him to try to win the race, and that's what he needs to move on. He knows it. The car's fast enough. I think he can pull it off. He does have experience here. He has an average finish, or he finished 13th with a couple laps led. Give me hope. That was in bad Carson Hocevar car days. This is with good Carson Hocevar or truck, whatever. Same thing. I haven't had my coffee yet either. So we have Carson Hocevar in a good truck compared to when he was in the bad truck last year. So give me Carson Hocevar at 7,600, the cheapest of all of these drivers. I'm making him a core play, and good luck if you fade and watch him win this race or finish second or third and dominate the leaderboard on DraftKings.
I think we have a head-to-head coming.
Yeah,
here.
I was gonna say they smell a head-to-head.
Zane Smith, like I already said, he's the next guy up. I think he has the best upside here of the 8, a little bit of place differential coming from the 9th place, and he has run very well here. So I think, he's got good track history. I think that he is one that I would like to actually make a move and get up there and probably maybe finish like 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Zane Smith too. I would love the Zane Smith Hocevar Nemechek combo heading into GPPs today. Excuse me. Next up, just running 10th, Austin Hill. Another car in this range that has nothing to lose. He's kind of like the Gillian, but he's got the place differential and value attached to his name here. So I don't mind Austin Hill. What about you?
Well, if you remember before Talladega, wherever they raced, I think it was it wasn't like a matter of like professional courtesy where like he was like battling like the drivers that were still in the playoffs. I think he was already out of the playoffs at that point. And like they just wouldn't let him in line, and he ended up like going on the bottom of the track and crashing. So I like him. I like the price. It's a great truck. He's a decent driver. He had a really good form in the middle of the season, but I just don't know if any of these guys who have everything to play for will cut him any breaks today.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now that I'm going back through the history, Chandler Smith won Bristol. That's pretty comparable in track size to Martinsville. Maybe we should reestablish my stance on Chandler Smith.
You're gonna send me a Chandler Smith, Carson Hocevar head-to-head?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with Friesen. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, yeah. Hocevar finished 6th. Yeah, I got to reevaluate my Chandler Smith shares. Scratch what I said about Smith earlier. I might be in. Austin Hill, and next up we have the 3 best plays on the slate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're only up there because of where they finished in Talladega. Cross off Trucks, cross off Fogarty, cross off Purdy.
Fogarty. Fogelman.
Oh, yeah, he's not the lead singer of
Fogarty's, that's Credence. Oh, yeah, this show's going great.
He's a fortunate son.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Truex, Fogelman, Purdy. No thanks. Now, why do you have Danny Bond as 40 at 4,900 as a GBP? Tell us about him.
Just because I don't think he's going to drop as far as the other one. Looking like at the quality of the trucks here, I know Purity's in a GMS, and that's a decent one, but he just hasn't been a good driver. He's still got a lot to learn. But on point, isn't that not Nemechek, who's the guy that put all his eggs in the basket to go run for
Brett Moffitt?
Yeah, Brett Moffitt. Isn't that
that's our motorsports?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry with the O. Yeah, this show's going great. No. But I'd
say it's similar.
I think he's safe with the price point in here. If I look at all of these, if I'm going to take a stab at one of them, he would be the one that I would trust the most. I'm not saying it's a must play, but I think out of all of the ones that you have, well, if you go down a little bit more, Spencer Boyd is definitely the best out of these 4K guys. A couple more down here, but he would be number 2.
Yeah, I could see it. Probably not a cash play at GBP. Get that. Grant Enfinger, he's pretty good on short tracks. I like him at 9,700 for some place differential.
And he's in the Thor truck.
Yeah, right. He's back in his usual 98. He's got a lot of good experience here at this track. In 5 races, his average finish of 6th. He has a win, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. with only 56 laps led. So that tells me he hangs around in the back, and then when it's time to strike, he's moving his way forward, and he can escape the Martinsville carnage if there were to be any throughout the race. So it looks like he keeps his truck clean, and he makes his way to the front at the and when the time's right. And I'm gonna have exposure at 9,700.
Yeah, I really like him here. I'm not saying he's a priority play, but he's definitely somebody to be in my player pool.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say that's perfect. Corey Roper in the 04 Roper Racing, 4,600.
Starting too high.
You're not playing him in every lineup? Oh, man. All right. Next up, we have
Put him in your head-to-head.
There you go. No, I'm not. No, don't play Corey Roper. Next up, we have Derek Krauss, 6,800. He doesn't move the needle for me. A little too expensive.
Yeah, that's why I put him as a GPP. I mean, he's not a horrible play, not a great play, just somewhere kind of, if that's where you land on, like, there's really nobody else in that price range. Yeah. If you look that you're going to play, unless like Haley Deegan, I definitely like better for 200 less. But that's why I put a GPP. Like if you already have some of these values in there and you're stuck at like 6,900 and can't get up to, some of like a Sage Karama or Tanner Gray, then he'll do.
Yeah. By the way, I just came across Danny Bone is 2 for 2 in races, finishing inside the top 10 here at Martinsville. So I like that. I like that call even more. Next up is Spencer Boyd, 4,700. You had already alluded to him being the favorite 4K play. I might be favoring Danny now, but I could understand Boyd and your love.
Yeah, it's not really love. It's just, again, looking at all these guys compared to each other. And if you land in that price range, just trying to give you the best two options to pick from, in a build. So if you're trying to jam in like 4 like really, really high guys and punting the low end, then those are the 2 guys you really want to look at. If you're not playing the prime pace, we're recommending.
Right. Next up, we have Tyler Ingram, 10K. I'm not going to play Tyler Ingram.
No, this is a GPP to a fade. He's like wrecked like so many times. He's starting, they're giving you credit for place differential, but I'd rather have him like 29th or 39th to pay this much for him. So he's a GPP to a fade.
Complete trap play at that price tag because of the place differential. No thanks. Next up, we have Brett Holmes, starting 21st.
Okay. Yeah, too far forward.
What's that?
Too far forward.
Okay, moving on. Next up, we have our favorite play probably between us both. That is Austin Wayne Self, 5,700. Yep. Love short tracks. Love Austin Wayne Self every time we get to one.
Yep.
Favorite
he's country singer.
He is the lead singer of our country music band. And going to be playing quite a bit of him in both cash and GPP lineups. Next up is Johnny Sotter, 10-9. I'm going to go ahead and put him into this Tyler Ingram mold.
Yeah, but I think he's like a better play, but still, I don't think you're going to have to group these guys together. You're going to have to group Johnny Sotter, Josh Berry, and Parker Klingerman all in the same group here because they're the high-end place differential plays. Eliminate Ingram because he doesn't even count here. So he's a pivot. A lot of people are going to be playing Berry and a lot of people are going to be playing Klingerman because of the potential for place differential here among all these others. Because look at all the guys that like in the middle here we said are going to just fall right down. So you're probably guaranteed like 10 place differential points. So I think he's GPP because he's a pivot off. He's got a good truck. He's a decent driver, but he does sometimes have some issues. So that's what concerns me.
Yeah, he does have the track history in his favor. 11th is his average finish. In 5 races, he's got a win. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 188 laps led. This is, probably, good Johnny Sotter when he was dominating at some points in his truck series career. It just hasn't been the same, but he could always, pull out a, vintage finish late in this race. Like I said, it is a longer race. At Bristol, he did finish fifth. So he's got some recent finish on a short track. He's got, the track history. I can understand this play over Ingram, but maybe not so much when we get down the line here about the other plays above him in price. Haley, Deegan, and Timmy Hill, I'll lump them together. I think they're pretty similar in play. What are your thoughts between the two? Who would you take over either one of the other?
It's dead even here.
Yeah.
Haley Deegan has had a phenomenal rookie season here. Most of her issues have not been of her own. It's been other people running into her, things like that. She's got a good, solid, fast truck. The price is great here. Timmy Hill, same thing. Good, experienced driver. Truck has been pretty solid. I think Deegan's wins with, tech and being a little bit more reliable. But it's just like, if both of them can run a clean race, I think that they're going to. If you look at their points per game here, Timmy Hill's crushing Deegan, but that's because Timmy Hill usually starts way, way, way far down. So Timmy Hill's starting a little bit higher than we usually like him to. We usually like him when he starts in the 30s and shoots up. Mm-hmm. So I think it's pretty even here. Probably would lean Deegan, just because of if Timmy Hill was starting about maybe 5 points down, I would favor him.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go with Timmy Hill here. He's got a top 5 in his last 2 races here. $6K, getting a cheaper price tag as well. So I'm going to try and shoot with Timmy Hill. Next up, we have Josh Berry, 11-3. Any love for Josh Berry at this price tag?
I like him. I like him better in Xfinity race, where he's starting almost dead last. I think he's going to be the absolute uber chalk of when we get to that video. But here he's in the Rackley War truck. It's been okay, but not super reliable. He did actually win this race in Xfinity in the fall, or not in the fall, in the spring, but he was in the 8 car, which is, JR Motorsports, and a really, really, really solid car. So he's been good at this track. I think he's got a lot of potential here, but if I have to choose between Josh Berry and Parker Kligerman, I'm going with Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, same. I'm on the same boat here. I don't have much faith in the Rackley War car, and
I will have shares though.
Yeah, it's just the price tag's too much for me. I'm gonna go with Parker as well. Next up, we have Chris Wright, 5,400. No thanks.
I think it's a GPP. I don't think he's horrible.
Yeah.
At this price tag at 54. I mean, if you find 300, 300 more or 100 more for Karam, but if you can't find anybody else, I think just where he is and just his truck and stuff is reliable enough to be okay here. It's a punt, definitely. But
all right,
next 2 people are definitely, I don't know. Well,
yeah,
we're starting to run here.
Yeah,
we're into the good stuff now.
All right, go ahead and kick us off with Tanner Gray and Corey Heim.
Tanner Gray is a really good driver. He's got a decent truck here, and we love his starting position. And I think what's going to happen with Tanner Gray is, if you look at our prime plays here, you have Austin Lane Self, you have Colby Howard, who's a 64, and you have Dawson Cram, who's at 55. I believe that leaves you 10-8. So it helps you get some really high-end guys in there. You probably can get 3 in, or you could probably get 11, a 10, and a 9. So if you use those 3 guys as building blocks, then that really helps you get some, a place differential guy in there, a top guy, and another, person. But if you want to be a little bit different, and then you fade one of the prime plays, then another alternate build would be to take 2 guys up top and to take Tanner Gray and then probably his brother Taylor Gray, because these guys, or even Corey Heim, who's right next to him. So sounds like the guy from the 80s movies.
Corey Heim.
Yeah.
Yeah, do they have the same name?
I don't know. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but anyways, But this could be an alternate build that could be very successful, because if people are playing like all these like punt guys that we talked about, and something happens, then you're paying a little bit more for like the Tanner Gray and the Taylor Gray and for the Corey Heim, because they have so much better equipment. So your build would be one of the or two of the three prime guys, and then take like two of the guys in like the 7-8K range, two guys up top, and that leaves you like 8 to 9K left for your final guy. And we talked about some solid drivers, like Stuart Friesen at 8-2 might fit into your build there, or like an Austin Hill at 7-8, and it might make a really nice, differentiated lineup that is like really solid enough for cash, but it has like some decent potential to maybe even win a GPP, because you have leverage over where everybody else might be going.
Yeah, this is a really fun slate with the way that the place differential comes into play with the finishing position up top. I think DraftKings did wonderful in its pricing. It's going to be a lot of fun today. Next up is Colby Howard in the 15.
Well, the one thing, truck. Can I just go back to Heim? I really like him. His truck, I mean, he has the 51. It's the one that Kyle Busch usually, this is like probably the most dominant truck. It's like, the 54 in Xfinity. It's like, a ride share. It's like Uber, or, like something like that. Like one of those ones where like they leave it on the side of the road, and like whoever wants to drive for the week just like, pays their money and like picks it up and drives it. But he has struggled. The driver has struggled. That's the only concern here. Good truck, good equipment, great team, but the driver is a little bit suspect here. So I think it's still a cash play, but it's like a sprinkle of caution. Okay. Colby Howard is definitely a prime play here. It's a good truck. He's a good driver. I think that this truck is solid. The price tag is very low. He should probably be like 7K or so. Love him here.
Yeah. Next up, we have Parker Klingerman, the probably main play on the slate. I think I'm in.
Yeah.
The Henderson truck isn't as dominant as the one that he drove in the Xfinity last week. But I think he's got a lot of experience on short tracks, and I love that heading into a slate where I can really make the salary do what I want it to do with the different kind of plays we have in each tier. And I think that's going to play well into either playing him in cash or fading him in cash. I think the play is to play him, though. He will be quite chalky. So if he gets into that top 15, you're looking at the outside of the cash marker. Yeah. Next up is Sage Karam, 7,300. What can you tell me about him in the Jordan Anderson racing machine?
He's decent as a driver. Again, another young guy that's like just, in a ride share program with the Jordan Anderson truck and just like rotate between drivers. But it's great to see some of these young guys getting some opportunities towards the end of the season in some like, on some decent teams to try to prove themselves and maybe land a permanent ride next year. He's borderline cash here, but he's another one of the alternate plays. That's somebody that has decent place differential in a decent truck that has had some speed, a decent crew. So, if he can get above like maybe 5 place differential points or so, finish a good race, then, he could be a differentiation if like some of the chalk plays fail.
Yeah. Don't mind him. Next up is Joe Cobb. No thanks. Dawson Cram.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of my favorite cheap guys here at 55. It's been a solid team. He's really, really good on short tracks. He's starting 33rd. He's got so much potential for place differential. Maybe like 15, like he can get up to 18th, I think, realistically.
Really? Okay. What can we finish out with here? Any love for Jack Wood?
Jack Wood is a GPP play. The truck is solid again, but he's really struggled as a rookie. So price is a little bit high for him. He's borderline fade, but I think he's relevant.
Okay. Josh I can never pronounce
Right,
his name. Yeah, no, I'm just not
No.
even gonna do it. Spencer Davis.
No.
No, I don't like this driver. Chris Hacker.
I don't know much about him,
45.
but it's a nice truck
It
starting
was Brett Moffitt's a
37th.
long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. So it's 63. It's definitely intriguing here. I think
Sure.
I think there's some floor there.
Jesse Awuji.
I don't know. This is GPP to fade.
Yeah.
He's like a really, really old school driver.
Yep.
Fills in from time to time. I think, he's almost like when they pull Chad Pennington off the bench for like an NFL quarterback when they can't find somebody else.
He is the Joe Flacco of the.
Don't diss my Flacco, man. He's actually Flacco's won a Super Bowl. Chad Pennington,
That's fair.
Can't throw the ball 20 yards.
That's fair. I just laugh at the Jets releasing Joe Flacco and then trading for him the next year. But moving on. Next up, we have
then
the
Taylor
last
Gray.
talking
I think
point.
is very, very solid here. A lot of floor. Really can't hurt you here. Again, this is an alternate build. I don't think this is ideal one. I think you want like some of the three prime guys or some of the other guys in the price range of the prime guys that we've laid out for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, if you take him and his brother, or just him, and it will just change your build up just a little bit to maybe make the difference, but still be solid enough in a cash build to get you in like 50-50s and double ups and stuff like that.
I think he could come out as popular. It's to be seen what I'm going to do with him as far as my lineup builds. But all right. That'll wrap things up.
Don't play the 40th place guy. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the 40th place guy has nothing to lose. Yeah, this guy might not even make it through the pace laps. Okay.
Yeah, that car is slow. No chance. All right. Well, there's only a couple hours left to go before this race kicks off. So we're going to try to get this up to you ASAP. Listen, like, comment below, and we will catch you for the Xfinity video shortly.